Well, it is an exciting time of the year. Many college students will be coming home for the summer. High school graduations are around the corner, plus school-aged kids will be off for the summer in a few weeks. So today we are talking about how to prepare and handle these transitional role changes and stress that might come with it. Jenna Mendelson, a licensed psychologist with Cone Health LeBauer Behavioral Medicine, joins us for today's To Your Well-Being. Hello, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's start with the oldest. When your college-age children come home for the summer, they're used to having more independence and may have opinions about things like curfews, responsibilities. What advice do you have in these situations to really just help keep the peace?
Broadly speaking, anticipate an adjustment. Just like you said, kids who have been away at college have probably gotten used to a lot more independence than they used to enjoy at home. So just preparing for that. And just like the kids may have changed, it's quite possible that parents have gotten used to some new routines around the house. Having an open conversation in advance, maybe a few weeks before your college-age child returns home, just to establish clear expectations and boundaries can help with that adjustment.
Okay, let's stick with that. How important is open communication during the transition?
It's very important. Like I said, parents and college-age children change during the time that they're apart from each other and kids are away at school. It's a transition not just for your child, but in your relationship with your child, where you can anticipate going from knowing them as young children and teenagers into knowing them as adults. So, approaching that transition with an attitude of curiosity rather than jumping to assumptions that maybe your child likes all the same things that they used to like in high school or even middle school, getting ready to get to know them in their new stage of life.
If the young person doesn't want to talk with their parents about how they're feeling, managing things, what advice do you have for parents to try to get them to open up?
That can be so tricky, especially since during this period it can be developmentally typical for kids to not really want to talk to their parents as much as they may have wanted to, especially when they were young children. So, just letting your kids know that you're available for them, you're a secure base that they can come home to when they need it, and also just expressing curiosity, like I said, being available, doing little things like rather than assuming you know what they're going to want from the supermarket based on what they may have wanted in high school, asking them before you make a supermarket run. And you may be surprised to find that their tastes have changed. And they learn from even that small of an interaction that you are open to the changes they may be undergoing.
Absolutely. And what if a parent is concerned about the changes they notice in their child now that they are home? Are there any red flags to look out for?
Absolutely. And while we can anticipate changes during this time, there are certainly some changes that can be concerning. So if your child is acting more reclusive than they used to, not just from you as their parents, but also from friends that they used to socialize with when they were home, if it seems like they're just going in their room and closing the door and not going out, that's a time to be concerned. Major changes in their sleep habits, a decline in hygiene, changes in eating habits that result in a change, a weight gain or a weight loss. These are all concerning changes to be on the lookout for.
And some parents might also struggle with their kids now being young adults. So, what advice do you have for parents who really might be struggling with that?
Yeah, it's a tough time for parents to sometimes referred to as empty nest syndrome, which of course is not a clinical diagnosis, but the fact that there's even a little term for it speaks to how broadly challenging this period of time can be, especially for those who really identify closely with their role as a parent. So, advice for parents would include just preparing in advance. being aware that this time may be challenging, that it's a transition, and those difficult feelings won't last forever, and having a bit of a plan for themselves for what their life might look like when their kids are no longer in the house, maybe signing up for some activities even before your child has left, so you already have that system up and running before they're fully out of the house and your role has changed.
All right, a lot of great stuff there. So stick with us because after the break, we're going to talk about transitions with your high school graduate and then the younger kids who will be home for this summer. We'll be right back.